Welcome to Segment 3 of the Tribal Crash Data Online Tool Training Manual walkthrough. At the end of the last segment, we just finished logging in to the data tool, and now we're starting this segment on page 4 of the manual, looking at the map itself. So I'll get started here with the first section, getting to know the online tool dashboard, changing the zoom level. The default screen is pictured here with a map showing California and surrounding states. There are two ways to zoom in and out. One, hit the plus and minus sign on the left side of the screen. So here we'll go plus, minus, we're looking good. Or two, use your mouse dial, if any, to zoom in, forward, and out, reverse. For Mac users, hold two fingers on the trackpad and swipe up or down to adjust zoom. Now, since you can't see me doing those functions, I'll just leave it to your imagination and your discretion once you start using the tool. So, when you are zoomed in and wanting to go back, click on the Home button to go back to the original zoom level and map extent. So, I'll zoom in here, get closer to Yosemite, and then I'll click the Home button. You see, it drags us back out. Next section, change the base map. Click on Base Maps, upper right of the screen, and try out one of the 10 different base map options that fit your mapping needs. For example, topography and terrain options focus on the geographic features, whereas the OpenStreetMap option focuses on road networks. So we'll just go into Base Maps, Topography, and the other one was Terrain. Great. And I'm going to take us back to, that's Hybrid. I'm going to go with the street level one. That's the default that's used in all of the screenshots in the manual. And it's one of the easier ones to see when you're first kind of plotting the data with the tool. So, next section, view/download crash data for your tribe. Click on Map Collisions in the upper left of the screen to view the Select Date Range and Select Tribe dialog boxes. So, Map Collisions was already open, so open it again. Select the date range by entering the beginning and end dates of the date range. The data viewer contains 10 years of crash data from January 1st, 2006 to December 31st, 2015. Click on the data to set the appropriate range to map collisions. Okay, so as you can see here, if we click on the first box, you get a calendar drop down. We'll go with some random dates just so you can see what it looks like when we change the dates around. The same thing with the end date, just move it a few days, and then I'll click away to close it. Okay, so we're through that step. Select your tribe by clicking on the drop-down arrow and scrolling to the name of your tribe. Once you click on the name of your tribe, the map will zoom and focus on your tribal lands. An insert map appears the bottom left of your screen to show a zoomed out view of where the selected tribal lands are located within California. Now later in the manual, you'll be looking at examples from Pechanga, so we'll just start with them now for the example. That way it's easier to follow along later. So select Pechanga, zooms in, and you see in the bottom left corner we have kind of a zoomed out map so you can see where we are in California. A tribe information box appears on the right side of the screen showing a tribal summary with links to the snapshot of fatal and severe injuries and snapshot of victims. In the example shown, the tribe information menu on the right displays county, population, area, road miles, etc. about the Pechanga tribe selected for this example. Where available, hyperlinks have been included in the tribe information. For this example, the links go to the Pechanga Police and Fire Department websites. Note, the tribe information box changes based upon the parameters selected, such as the date range, buffer distance, and injury level. As you can see here on the right side, that same Pechanga information is available. Next section, display information about crashes on and near the lands of the selected tribe. In the Map Collisions dialog box, you can select a buffer distance from the tribe of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 miles from tribal lands. This will show the crash data for collisions occurring near tribal lands. Users can also select from the injury level drop-down menu that allows displaying all injury levels, fatal-only crashes, or fatal and severe injury crashes. So, follow the steps here, starting with the buffer. So right now we have no buffer selected, and now we'll do 2 miles. And then injury level, we'll go with fatal and severe injuries. Okay, so we selected our drop-downs. Click Get Result and notice that a buffer boundary is created with a light blue line and crashes of selected injury level are mapped in red circles. So I click Get Result. And you can see there's a buffer down here. Let's zoom in and see what we have going on. So I'll zoom in, drag you along. There we go. So now you can see, following my mouse, there's this light blue layer. So just as a note here, that in the example that I'm showing now, the reservation boundary and the buffer boundary are both light blue lines. So just be aware that the interior one is the reservation. This one's labeled. And then the outer one is the buffer. Also notice that the information menu on the right updates with information of mapped crashes. So here in the bottom, you get these 2 snapshot boxes have been populated with information about that area and the crashes in that area. Click Style to change the collision symbol size and symbol transparency. You can also change collisions symbolized by the default setting to collision severity, which will change the colors of the collision symbol to correspond with the severity of the injury. So let's go up to Style. So we can make them bigger. With this many data points, it's usually better to make them smaller. See, now they're less blurred together, so it gives us a better idea of what we're looking at. Transparency, now they're harder to see. Now they're darker, easier to see. We can change this collision severity, and now you can see the circles have changed color based on how severe the injury is. Okay. If you want to map all the crashes over several years, choose either fatal-only crashes or fatal and severe injury crashes, because the number of crashes to be mapped may overwhelm the server and be unreadable on the map. Also, visually, only mapping fatal and severe injury crashes is more informative, makes it easier to see patterns. You can change the base map option at any point during the selection of the parameters. So, minimize style, come in, do topography again, and as you see, we get a different layer. This one's kind of easy to see because it turned everything white, so the contrast of the colors stands out more. If that's what you're looking for. Or maybe one of these layers has other specific information you might need. So I'll just keep that our default for now with the streets view. As a side note, please be patient with the tool, because the more years of data requested, the more time it takes to map. If the request does not appear, sign out and sign in again.